When Ethan woke up the next morning, the city felt different, heavier, quieter. It was as if the air itself carried a secret. The sunlight was pale, the streets were slow, and people moved as though they were distracted by invisible thoughts. Ethan rubbed his eyes, grabbed his backpack, and walked toward the window of his small apartment. Far below, the streets of Arclight City were waking up, but something was wrong. People were pointing at the sky. At first, Ethan didn't see anything. And then he heard it. A low, distant hum. A sound that didn't belong to nature or machines or anything human. It vibrated through the air like a deep voice whispering from the clouds, the same strange echoing sound he had heard last night in the alley. "Not again," he whispered. He grabbed his notebook, the one where he wrote every strange detail, and rushed outside. A street full of questions. Ethan walked to the marketplace, where vendors were setting up their stands, but instead of the usual loud conversations, people were whispering nervously. Two men near a fruit stand were talking. "Did you hear it again?" "Yes, early this morning. That sound, it feels like it's calling us." Ethan stepped closer and asked, "Do you know what it is?" The men stared at him. "No one knows," one of them said. "But some people believe the city is alive." Alive? A city? The idea was ridiculous, but the way the men said it made Ethan's stomach tighten. He wrote it in his notebook anyway. Point theory. The city might be alive? Connected to the sound? His investigation had officially begun. The Library of Forgotten Things. To find answers, Ethan decided to visit Arclight City's oldest library, a massive stone building known as the Library of Forgotten Things. Inside, the silence felt heavy, almost artificial, as if the walls were listening. He approached the elderly librarian, Miss Callista, who always seemed to know more than she admitted. "Miss Callista," he began softly, "I'm looking for information about strange sounds in the city. Sounds like echoes." The librarian froze. For the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. She leaned closer and whispered, "You heard it, didn't you?" "Yes," Ethan replied. "Last night. And again this morning." The librarian looked around as if checking for someone or something. "Follow me," she said. She led him into a restricted section at the back of the library. Dusty shelves, locked cabinets, stacks of old maps. This place looked forgotten, even by history. She unlocked a small wooden drawer and pulled out a single file. A file labeled The Echo Incidents, 1974. Ethan felt his heart jump. There were others, Miss Callista said. People who heard the same hum, the same voice in the sky. They tried to investigate. They disappeared. Ethan swallowed hard. "Do you think the sound is dangerous?" he asked. The librarian said quietly, "I think the sound is intelligent." A warning written in the past. Ethan opened the file. It contained letters, reports, and old photographs, black and white images of the city skyline with strange distortions around the tallest buildings. One letter caught his attention. "The city speaks in echoes. When you hear the hum, you are already involved. Do not ignore it, but do not trust it either." The last line was underlined twice. A chill went through Ethan's body. He looked at Miss Callista. What happened to the person who wrote this? The librarian shook her head slowly. No one ever found him, only his notes. Ethan took a deep breath. So what should I do? The librarian looked into his eyes, her voice trembling slightly. Leave the city. Today, before the sound follows you. Ethan didn't move. He didn't blink. He wasn't running away. Not now. Not after coming this far. I can't leave, he said. Something is happening here, and I need to understand it. The librarian closed her eyes with a sigh. Then whatever you do, do not go near the old radio tower. Ethan's notebook shook in his hand, because the old radio tower was exactly where he heard the sound last night. The decision that changes everything. Ethan left the library with the file under his arm and a storm of thoughts in his head. He walked quickly through the crowded streets, ignoring the noise, ignoring the people. He focused only on one thing: the old radio tower, the source of the sound, the beginning of the truth. He reached an empty intersection and stopped. His heart was beating fast. His mind was racing. If he went to the tower, he might find the answers he was searching for, but he might also not return. He looked up at the sky. The hum came again, closer this time, calling him, almost whispering his name. Something deep inside him shifted like a puzzle piece sliding into place. And Ethan made his choice. He turned toward the old part of the city and began walking straight into the heart of the mystery. Welcome back to this long B2 level podcast story. In the previous part, we followed Aaron, a young researcher who left her quiet hometown and arrived in the gigantic, restless metropolis known as Valor City, a place full of technology, secrets, and hidden dangers. Now in part 2, the story becomes deeper, darker, and much more emotional. A new life that doesn't feel like life. For the first few days, Aaron tried to adapt to the city. She woke up early, took the crowded train, pushed through noisy streets, and tried to look confident, even though she felt lost inside. But every evening when she returned to her tiny apartment, the silence hit her again. She opened her computer, looked at the unfinished research documents, and wondered, is this really the life I wanted? Is this the dream I worked so hard for? The city was fast, smart, and efficient, but it had no warmth. People looked tired. People moved like machines. Everyone was in a hurry, yet no one knew where they were truly going. Aaron kept telling herself, it's just the beginning. It will get better. But each day, the feeling grew heavier. The lab and the pressure. Her new job at the Valor Institute of Cognitive Engineering was impressive on the outside, but stressful on the inside. Her team leader, Dr. Runford, was brilliant. Too brilliant. He expected perfection. He expected results. And he expected Aaron to understand complex systems faster than anyone else. On her third week, after making a small mistake in a simulation, he said, "If you wish to stay here, Miss Aaron, you must learn to think like the city, quickly." His tone wasn't angry. It was worse. It was cold. Aaron apologized quietly, but inside, she felt something crack. The city begins to show its true face. One evening, after another long day, Aaron decided to walk home instead of taking the train. She hoped the fresh air would help her think. As she walked deeper into Valor City, she noticed something unusual. Some streets were bright and beautiful, with holograms, cafes, high-tech shops, and people laughing loudly. But a single turn into a narrow street changed everything. The lights faded. The buildings looked older. People spoke in whispers. Shadows moved in strange ways as if the city itself was breathing. Aaron felt a chill. Then she saw him, the man in the dark coat. He wasn't walking. He wasn't rushing. He was waiting. He looked straight at her, as if he knew her, as if he was expecting her. Aaron froze. The man slowly raised a small device, a circular metal object with a glowing blue line. "Aaron Hale?" he said calmly. "You're not safe here." Her heart dropped. "How do you know my name?" she whispered. But before he answered, a loud mechanical sound echoed from above. A drone, large, military-sized, flew into the street, scanning the surroundings. The man stepped closer and said urgently, "Listen carefully. You are being watched. Your research is not what you think it is, and if you want to survive in this city, you must find the truth before they find you." Aaron wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. She felt like she was trapped between two realities, the ordinary world she thought she knew, and a darker world hiding underneath. The drone lowered, its red scanner moving toward her face. The man grabbed her hand. "Come with me. Now." And without thinking, Aaron followed him. They escaped through the underlayers. They ran through the narrow streets, turning left, right, up staircases, down metal ramps. The drone followed, machines buzzing above them. Aaron breathed heavily. "Why are they after me?" she shouted. The answered, "Because your research has the key to something powerful, something the Institute wants to control." "I don't even know what I'm working on," Aaron cried. "I know, and that's why you're in danger." Finally, they reached a hidden entrance behind a large trash container. The man tapped a code on the metal door, and it opened silently. "Inside," he ordered. They stepped into a long tunnel with pipes, wires, steam, and dim lamps flickering above. "This is the underlayer," he explained. "A part of the city most people don't know exists." "Who are you?" Aaron asked. He stopped walking, turned toward her, and said, "My name is Kale, and I'm here to protect you, if you let me." The reveal. In the underground shelter, Kale finally told her everything. The Institute had been developing a system that could read and manipulate human decision-making without people knowing it. The project was presented as harmless cognitive research. But in reality, it was the blueprint for mind control. Aaron's algorithms, her small part of the research, were the missing piece the Institute needed to make the system fully functional. Her code could predict emotional responses with extremely high accuracy. She was the final puzzle piece, and they couldn't let her walk away. Aaron's voice shook as she said, "So, if I keep working for them, then you will help them control millions of people. And if I refuse?" Aaron looked at her with serious eyes. "They won't let you refuse." Aaron felt her entire world collapse. She thought she came to the city to chase her dreams. But instead, she had arrived at a place where knowledge was turned into power, and power was used to manipulate. She whispered, "What do I do now?" Kale took a deep breath and replied, "You fight back. But to fight back, you must learn the truth about Valor City and about yourself." And that moment, that very moment, was the real beginning of Orange's journey. A journey that would change not only her life, but the future of the entire city. The city of Arclight looks completely different at night. During the day, it was loud, colorful, and alive, full of people rushing, horns honking, markets shouting, and screens flashing. But at night, everything changed. The noise faded. The crowds disappeared. Only shadows, lights, and secrets remained. Leora and Jonas walked side by side, following the narrow roads that curved through the oldest part of the city. The air felt colder here, and the wind carried strange sounds, soft whispers, distant footsteps, and the metallic hum of machines hidden beneath the streets. Leora held the notebook tightly against her chest, the mysterious notebook they had found earlier. The notebook filled with coded messages, strange symbols, and a map that didn't match any official city layout. "We should turn back," Jonas said quietly, his voice echoing off the stone walls. "It's too dangerous at night." Leora shook her head. No. Whoever wrote this notebook wasn't afraid. They wanted someone to find the truth, and we're close. I can feel it. Jonas sighed, but he didn't argue. He knew Leora well. Once she decided something, she followed it until the end. As they walked deeper into the district called the Hollow Quarter, the streetlights flickered. One by one, the lamps blinked off until the only light came from the neon signs of old shops and the pale moon above. But then suddenly, thud! Something heavy dropped onto the ground behind them. Both froze. They turned around slowly. Nothing. Only an empty street. Jonas swallowed nervously. Maybe it was a cat? Leora didn't respond. She crouched down and inspected the ground. There was a mark, like something metallic had landed there. Fresh, sharp, recent. "We're being watched," she whispered. They continued forward, but now they walked faster. Their footsteps echoed louder in the silence, mixing with the soft hum of distant machines. The deeper they went, the older the buildings became, many of them abandoned, broken, or half collapsed. Broken windows reflected their shadows in distorted shapes. Finally, they reached the place marked in the notebook, an enormous, rusted metal door hidden behind a bakery that had been closed for 10 years. The door was covered in scratches and strange markings, exactly the same symbols from the notebook. "This is it," Leora breathed. Jonas exhaled slowly. "Do we knock or what?" Before Leora could answer, a sound rose from the other side of the door, a mechanical grinding noise, a metallic shift, a click. The door unlocked itself. Jonas stepped back instantly. "Okay, nope, absolutely not. This is how horror movies start." But Leora took a slow breath. This is what the notebook wanted us to find. She pushed the door open. Inside, they saw a long underground stairway leading down into darkness. Blue lights flickered along the walls, glowing like weak stars. A cold breeze moved past them, unnatural, almost electric. They descended the stairs, step by step, deeper and deeper underground. The air changed, becoming colder, thicker, heavier. At the bottom of the stairs, they entered a massive chamber filled with computers, screens, wires, and unusual machines shaped like cylinders and capsules. The entire room pulsed with energy, dim blue lights, blinking indicators, and the low humming of power flowing through hidden engines. Liara? Jonas whispered. This place? It's not abandoned. On the far side of the chamber, a figure stood with their back to them. Tall, still, surrounded by screens displaying maps of the entire city. Jonas grabbed Liara's arm. The figure turned slowly. A man. Not old, not young. Sharp eyes. A cold expression. I was wondering when you two would arrive, he said calmly. I've been watching you since the moment you touched the notebook. Liara's heart pounded. Who are you? The man smiled softly, too softly. My name is Archon, and you, Liara, were chosen. Jonas stepped forward. Chosen for what, and why follow us? Archon ignored Jonas and focused entirely on Liara. You have something most people lack. Curiosity that doesn't break under fear. That notebook was never lost. It was placed for the right person to find. And you found it. Liara felt anger rise in her chest. So, you manipulated us? You wanted us to come here. Yes, Archon replied without hesitation. Because Arclight City is in danger, and only someone like you can help stop what is coming. Jonas threw his hands up. Oh, great. Not only are we in a creepy underground lab, but now we're responsible for saving the city? Wonderful. Archon stepped closer, but slowly, like someone approaching a frightened animal. There is a system beneath the city. A system that controls transportation, power, information, even people. And that system is beginning to malfunction. If it collapses, the entire city will fall into chaos. Liara tightened her grip on the notebook. And you want me to fix it? Archon nodded. You and your friend. But first, you must see something. He walked to a large machine at the center of the chamber, a tall, cylindrical structure with wires spreading from its base like roots. With a tap on the control panel, the machine lit up. A hologram appeared above it, a map of the entire city, but not the one people normally saw. This one showed hidden tunnels, secret control rooms, and a massive network of energy lines connecting every district. Jonas gasped. What is all this? The real Arclight, Archon said. The city behind the city. Liara stared at the hologram, feeling both awe and fear rise inside her. Why are you showing this to us? She asked. Archon looked at her with a seriousness that made her skin crawl. Because something is attacking the system from within, and if we don't stop it soon, Arclight City won't survive. He paused, and the first attack begins tonight.